Fortnite OG Season 7 is right around the corner, about 2 days away at this point, and I think it's clear that this is a make or break season for the mode, but what exactly does Fortnite need to do to make sure that this season is successful? Alright guys, like I said, OG Season 7 drops in literally a couple of days on the 11th this Thursday, in just 2 days to be precise, and I'm gonna be honest, Fortnite has just one job with this season, and there's been other seasons where we've been like, all you have to do is one thing, and if you mess it up, it's gonna be bad, and they end up messing it up, and it ends up being a little bit ugly. Season 7 is one of the most nostalgic seasons in all of Fortnite, and because of that, expectations are way higher than usual, and aligned with that, hype is through the roof right now. People are excited, but they're also really worried, especially after everything that happened with OG Season 6. Of course, you guys know if you watched my last video, if you haven't, make sure you go watch that after this. There's already drama around the Battle Pass, but there's theories popping up. There's leaks connecting this stuff to Chapter 7, so I want to break down everything that Fortnite needs to get right this time for this season. If they nail this season, OG could actually get back on track, and we could be looking at one of the best seasons in OG. But if they mess it up, it's going to hit way harder than any previous season. So just for a little recap, in case you guys didn't see the reveal yesterday, what we actually know, Fortnite basically fully revealed OG Season 7 yesterday, and there's a lot here. Of course, we're going to get all of the iconic stuff. Just about everything you would expect is coming back. Of course, the full snow biome, Polar Peak, Happy Hamlet, and Frosty Flights, all the locations people have been begging for and the iconic ones from Season 7. Planes are officially going to be coming back, which is going to be chaos, but honestly, I'm really excited for that. Season 7 planes were always hilarious and fun. I don't expect them to be the exact ones from back in the day, pre-nerf or anything like that, but they will be fun to fly around with. Of course, we got some minor stuff like balloons, glider redeploy, suppressed sniper, dual pistols, things like that. So for the normal Season 7 loot pool, and later in the season, it was revealed and confirmed that the Affinity Blade is coming back. I cannot wait to use that again. So the content does look great, and so far it looks really accurate, but the reveal also created a massive debate the second people saw in the Battle Pass, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, of course, we all know that Fortnite has had some issues with sounds, with damage, with, just how weapons behave in Fortnite in general, being accurate to how it was back in the OG days. And this is something that has always kind of like struck me and confused me a lot because Fortnite knows what Chapter 1 was. I mean, they're the ones who actually made it. They should have everything from Chapter 1. They should still have all the files, all the stats. They can literally look back on YouTube and see how this stuff used to work. So it really confuses me about that. So first of all, that is one of the small little sectors of accuracy that needs to be right. The weapons, everything, all of the attachments, the sounds, everything needs to make sure that it is exactly the same as it was back in the day. Additionally, the season has to feel like Season 7. Now, OG Season 6 had so much potential, more potential than any of the other seasons. People were super excited for Season 6, but the mode was held back by bugs and things not working the way they did originally. Like we said, the quad crasher wasn't flying. That threw off a lot of the vibe. And Season 7 is a lot more nostalgic heavy because people are more protective over this season. It's Christmas, it's wintertime. If they release this and half the items don't behave correctly, the snow really doesn't feel that great. There already is actually going to be some missing islands in the top or the bottom left of the map, which some people have pointed out. Stuff like that just makes people mad. Personally, I really don't care about that. That's not that big of a deal. I honestly couldn't tell you if I ever even landed at those little mini islands that were once there. I don't think many people are going to notice that. But in terms of the actual items, if they release them and the stats are incorrect, or some of them are missing sounds like has happened before, or the damage just doesn't make any sense, or the recoil spread doesn't make sense, for a lot of people, they may not notice and remember. But for the hardcore OG fans, the people who are actually holding this mode like up above water, they're gonna care, and they're gonna be the ones that are gonna quit if stuff like that isn't correct. Now, they literally did shut OG down for a few days, and I'm really hoping that was also to bring hype, but also to fix things and polish the update. So hopefully this is the cleanest release yet, because in Season 6, we immediately had so many issues. People were upset about, things being changed, things not being correct, the cube being purple again and not red. We had nitro in that season as well. So I do like stuff being different, but a lot of people, the majority of people, just want OG to be how it was back in the day. Now, if we're going to talk Season 7, we have to talk about the vibe. And something else they need to get correct and accurate is the atmosphere, because that is what really makes this season special. We're going to need snow falling. As you guys can see in the background, this is footage from the OG Chapter 1 Season 7. Although I'm not back in 2018, this is a recreation of Season 7, and it feels like I'm back in there. I wish it would feel like this. Of course, there's not going to be the exact movement. It can't be the same exact graphics because it's on a whole different engine, but you get what I mean. We need that kind of snow falling. We need the fog. We need the lighting to be right where it was us that kind of frosty feel, if that makes any sense. I need to feel like winter has taken over this section of the map and eventually the entire map when it all turns to snow. But that's what really made the original season magical, and you guys can even see that in the background here. When I played it, it felt very magical just to walk around. And one of the biggest complaints with OG Season 6 was that Fortnitemares didn't feel like Fortnitemares are scary. There was no fog, no atmosphere, nothing. And if Season 7 launches and it looks like, I guess, I don't know how to put this, like dry or like flat, I guess, it's gonna ruin the immersion for a lot of people. Something that's gonna be really important is the lighting, because Fortnite has had some issues with lighting in terms of them not changing it season to season how it was back in the day. And I believe a few people have already pointed this out. Fortnite OG's lighting has been the same since like Season 1 through Season 6. And even though it drastically changed in Season 7, I really wouldn't expect it to based on the few screenshots that they gave us in the overview image here. It looks like it's exactly the same, so not gonna lie, that's not a very good start, but hopefully it's not bad. Hopefully the fog and hopefully the atmosphere that they do add makes up for it, but I'm not gonna hold my breath in terms of them fixing the lighting overall. And of course, we do know that the Ice King event should get replayed, but I'm really crossing my fingers that it officially does get confirmed, because the moment where the entire map turns into snow is peak Fortnite, and having that going on along with Winterfest and Chapter 7 is just going to be so much fun. And who knows, maybe we'll even get the Ice Husks walking around again like we did in the original. That would be a lot of fun. Now, another thing they need to do is Fortnite absolutely needs to promote this season, and we're already seeing good signs of that. You know, we got this overview here showing us the weapons, screenshots, you know, stuff that we can expect throughout this, as well as the OG Pass. I really liked that they were the first ones to put that out instead of the OG Pass getting leaked like it has just about every other season, and then people getting mad when they're not even supposed to know about something yet. But OG has had almost zero marketing for quite a long time at this point. Season 6 didn't even get a trailer, barely got a key art, and it blows my mind that OG, which has such massive nostalgia power. Like if they put even like, you know, 10% more effort into OG and making sure that it was 100% accurate, that it felt like it did back in the day, or at least trying to make this engine's lighting and the atmosphere as similar as possible, they would get a lot more attention. And not saying that there isn't any, because there's a very dedicated fan base. It could be at least maybe comparable, like barely comparable to what it was back in OG 2023. Now, this is by far the biggest OG season that they're going to drop in terms of Chapter 1. So people need to know that it's coming. Of course, there's a lot of hype in the community, but I'm really just holding my breath for a trailer. I really hope that we get one, because this is just such an iconic season. And if they recreate the trailer from OG Season 7, like the stop motion sort of animated one, that would be so awesome. Now, another thing they need to do, guys, is they need to, at some point, during this season, during this time, they need to give us an Ice King remix. If you guys didn't watch my other video, I'm not going to go too deep into it here because we talked about it yesterday, but people are absolutely furious because there's no Ice King remix in the OG Pass, and I get it. He is Season 7. He's the main, like, antagonist, I guess you could say. He definitely is going after the 0 point and brings in the monster and everything like that. The community reaction about that has been brutal, to say the least. People are very upset about no Ice King remix. My theory was that he will come back later on and get a remix later on in the shop. I don't know if it'll be in Season 7, but I hope it is, because he may have connection to Chapter 7 and that storyline, because he is probably going to be a playable villain boss. But hopefully we do see an Ice King remix. I think they need to do that at some point. And additionally, you guys, this is just one thing that's coming from me. I don't know if you guys will also share this idea, but I really want them to rotate content throughout the season instead of just dumping everything at launch. You know, the original Season 7 and all of the other seasons in Fortnite, I believe, had updates every few days or every week, and that's what kept it feeling alive. That was something that made Fortnite really unique to other games, is the amount of updates and new content that we would get. With OG, sometimes they just put every item in on day one and people get bored really fast. I really want them to slowly add things in, and we already know that the Infinity Blade is going to be coming later in the season, so that will be really fun as well and bring in some more hype into the season. You know, because once Season 6 launched, there was like no updates, nothing really changed, so nobody was really like playing it towards the end of it coming out or towards the end of it going away. But I really want them to keep the season moving. But also, the final thing that I want them to do is to keep the storyline going with this. There is so much potential in the OG mode, and I know a lot of you love the videos about the connection between OG and BR, as well as just the OG storyline in general, and they need to keep that up. If they're going to keep making things different, they can't just delete it all of a sudden. And as we saw in Season 6, they are definitely not abandoning it. We don't really know what's going on with the red cube and things like that, the red corruption energy inside of OG. Maybe it's gone, and maybe that's the reason why Dark Voyager is going over there, because he actually has to be hands-on now. He can't just have this like remote red corruption taking it over. But no matter what, you guys, I'm very excited. Season 7 is one of my favorite eras in Fortnite history, and even if this season comes out with so many inaccuracies, so many bugs, so many issues, to be honest, I'm just gonna be straight up, I'm probably gonna be playing it anyways, and I know a lot of you probably will as well. I'm gonna check it out. It was one of the best times to be playing Fortnite back in December of 2018. But Epic definitely has to get this right, and if not, it's going to be bad like it was for Season 6. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. What do you think Fortnite has to absolutely nail, and what are you most excited for? Let me know. Drop a like on today's video. You watched all the way to the end. You must have enjoyed, so drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. I make videos like these every single day, and also, if you want to watch more on OG, I've made like 3 or 4 videos other than this one, which you guys can go watch on my channel. If you guys would like to support me even further, use code Prozero in the Fortnite item shop. Just as another reminder, I changed it from Prozero YT to Prozero. If you try to use Prozero YT now, it probably won't work, so just put in Prozero. That is my new code from now on. Thank you to everybody supporting me, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.